This is the Relevant Podcast.
It's Friday, November 26, 2021, and it's the Black Friday edition of the Relevant Podcast. Here in Orlando, standing in a line at a Kohl's that goes around the block. I'm your host, Cameron Strang. From Loverland, Virginia, it's Jesse Carey.
Got to get that new merch this year. What's the hot gift, everyone? What's air fryers? Air fryers all the way around. I'm waiting in line for the discount. That's right.
Kohl's is handing out free Santa hats if you get there before 5 a.m. So that's where I am. From East Texas, sitting in for Jamie Ivey once again this week, our associate editor, downtown Emily Brown.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, and from Nashville, Tennessee, artist, producer, mogul, Derek Miner.
All right, look, we need to go ahead and get something straight real quick. We got to get this out the way, and I know it's some smart minds on here that read a lot more history than me. I need y'all to explain to me why we call this Black Friday.
It's because I think it's because where businesses can get their margins back into the black.
I'm 5 minutes away from calling Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, and the Black Lives Matter movement, and Sean King for us to go ahead and figure this situation out.
Look, I'm not the one to speak. This is not me defending the name, but my understanding, and I could be wrong, that it was the weekend where businesses that were in the red could get their margins in the black by getting sales up. Right. I think that was it, but I could be.
If they had a big, good sales day, the day after Thanksgiving, it saved their whole year from the red to the black.
So you're telling me the conspiracy theory memes that my mom has been sending me on Facebook about Black Friday being about taking money from black people, or Black Friday being about the Black Plague, or Black Friday being about the occult. You mean tell me all those Facebook memes are wrong?
Most Facebook memes are wrong. So there's that.
Listen, I'm just trying to twist my white friends in the pretzel to see how uncomfortable I can make the beginning of this show. And I think it's working.
You're doing a great job.
It's pretty uncomfortable. Derek, it's pretty uncomfortable. Because listen, I don't know. I'm just perpetuating what I've heard. I'm not saying that's the truth. I don't know. So maybe the Facebook memes are correct.
What you said is the truth, despite what your crazy aunt put on Facebook. That is the actual origin of the term Black Friday. It has nothing to do with the occult using black magic to make people want to get vaccines and all of that. It has nothing to do with that.
I mean,
last time I checked, no.
Emily, you're smarter than everybody on this pod right now. I need you to explain to us what's going on here, because I get a lot of Facebook memes every year about this. So
I did Google it, and based on Wikipedia, which I don't know where that lands on your credible sources.
It's owned by the leftist demigorgons or whatever they call them.
Oh.
Demigod.
Interesting. Yeah. This says the earliest evidence of the phrase Black Friday originated in Philadelphia, dating back to 1961, where it was used by police to describe the heavy pedestrian and vehicular traffic that would occur on the day after Thanksgiving.
What?
That doesn't make any sense.
That's not me. That's Wikipedia.
I will say this.
Wikipedia could be a kid living in his mom's basement.
Look, I do feel like this. If I know one thing about the occultists and proprietors of black magic resources, is they're opportunists, and they see a holiday called Black Friday like, hey, why don't we just jump on and make this a big black magic thing? I do know this, Derek, too. I don't know if you guys heard this, but there's a White Friday, and it's just a really lame version of the movie Friday. That's not funny at all. Like,
so it's like Friends, like how they deal with living single.
White Friday is basically Friends.
Oh, we spicy today, baby. We spicy.
Dude, by the way, Friday, I don't know when's the last time y'all watched Friday. That movie still holds up.
It's
that
legendary.
Y'all, I went deeper than Wikipedia just now while y'all were talking about Friday and
you
Friends.
You went on TikTok?
Okay, no, now I went from...
He's on the Facebook meme
I went from
page.
Wikipedia to history.com to Britannica.com. Encyclopedia. Okay.
This the real deal.
It's believed by many... This is a quote, that the term Black Friday derives from the concept that businesses operate at a financial loss or in the red until the day after Thanksgiving, when massive sales finally allow them to turn profit or put them in the black. Okay. However, this is untrue. A more accurate explanation of the term dates back to the early 1960s when police officers in Philadelphia began using the phrase Black Friday to describe the chaos that resulted when large numbers of suburban tourists came into the city to begin their holiday shopping and in some years attend Saturday's annual Army-Navy football game. The huge crowds created a headache for the police, who worked longer shifts than usual as they dealt with traffic jams, accidents, shoplifting, and other issues. Within a few years, the term Black Friday had taken root not only in Philly, or had taken root in Philly. City merchants attempted to put a prettier face on the day by calling it Big Friday, but Black Friday it was. Police named it, and it spread. So there you go.
Police they were sick of it.
So to sum up, I was right.
Emily, I told you're the smartest person on the pod.
I'll take it, Derek.
Yeah,
it's very confusing because last year I saw a witches coven camping out outside of Best Buy for a deal on a flat screen. So you tell me what's happening out here.
Are you telling me are you telling me that nobody is sacrificing a goat this Friday for these good deals? You're telling me that we don't have to do none of that?
But if you go down this Friday, if you go down today, Black Friday, to the Galleria Mall in Dallas, Texas, JFK Jr. is going to be there giving away doorbuster deals.
It's weird that the Apple, I don't know what to say because I did think it was weird that Apple, for everyone who waited in line this year for the new AirPods, was also giving them a Ouija board. Yeah. So I don't know about the whole witchcraft thing and the black magic. I just don't know. It is some weird coincidences.
Why would they, traffic jams and stuff from tourists coming in to do shopping, why would the police call it Black Friday? That doesn't make any sense.
Why don't they call it Busy Friday? You know what I mean? Like
Big Friday.
Headache Friday.
Yeah. Because the police was sick of it. I could just imagine two police just sitting there and they just like, this don't make no sense. This is the worst day of the year. Because they want to eat the leftover turkey too. You know what I mean? Yeah. But instead, they got to stop Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid from fighting each other over a toaster.
Oh, it's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like that, they sick of it, so they called it Black Friday. Like I ain't even mad at you, man. Shout out to the police for giving us the most morbid name ever for a day. That's a sad name for real.
I'll be honest with you. Ever since I started doing online shopping 10 years ago, I haven't been to a Black Friday store event. I mean,
there's no need to.
There's no need to. I mean, you can get deals online all weekend.
I will say there is something about like the rush of adrenaline you get when you get to like finally go in the store. Because I would go with my aunt and we would wait at places at like 3 a.m. because we were crazy. And like I was the first person.
You were those people.
Absolutely. Right. I was the first person in a Kohl's one year. And that is something that I am very proud to say. Because it was just so exciting. I think I got like one thing because everyone was grabbing stuff, but I was also like 14.
Though, did you? The question is, have you been to a Walmart?
Absolutely
on
not.
a Black Friday. That joint, Walmart on Black Friday is like the Hunger Games.
It's Thunderdome.
It's wild. Like it's like I saw somebody hit somebody with a TV. I'm like, man,
it's like the Super Bowl for Black Friday because you had to be real serious if you're going. Like if you're just casual Black Friday, do not go to Walmart.
Is already 4 hours long. I'm not going on Black Friday.
Facts.
You know. Like Walmart checkout, if you go at 10 p.m., you're waiting there till 11:30. I mean, that's just it.
Dog, and you can get that same Hisense TV on Amazon. You know what I'm saying? You get it shipped right to your door. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Sam's Choice AV.
The deals online is the same, but it's just something about, you know what I'm saying, punching somebody in the face and walking out with that toaster, bro. Like, it's just something about it. Like, it's irresistible for me. I feel like Black Friday is like hockey. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the one day that people are allowed to fight and nobody really tripping over it like that. Like, it's like, well, hockey's just boom. You know what I mean?
It's not like you knew what you were doing when you stepped into the rink. You knew that this was a possibility.
You knew you was going to jail.
You chose this.
And I feel like some parts of the country, further south you go, the more Mad Max it gets. I mean, you get down in Alabama, their shopping carts have flamethrowers and spikes sticking off the sides.
Spikes on the side of the window.
Yeah, I mean, there's a guy strapped in with the electric guitar. Like, it is straight up just desert warfare in post-apocalyptic gas war, desert warfare happening in the aisles of Walmart to save $30 on a PS5.
Well, somebody got a Bane mask on.
If they have
right
a
now.
PS5, I'm there. Man, I can't.
Yeah,
I can't
PS5 might be worth it. I ain't gonna even lie.
Yeah. They put it that PS5s are in stock and they don't say they have two. It's like, 400 people show up.
And one's the demo version that, that some kids playing,
It's a problem, man. I'm trying to tell you, the Ninja Blenders done got some people whooped on Black Friday, boy.
Oh, man. All right. Well, we have a great show in store for you today. Joining us is our friend Lecrae. He has a new financial web series that he's doing called Protect the Bag, which is awesome. And so he comes on. We're going to talk about that. Black Friday, you're probably out there spending a little bit too much money. You need to listen to this conversation with Lecrae about maybe being a little smarter with your finances. We also have your feedback, man. You guys melted Twitter to the core with your feedback, man. Anytime, if we ask a thoughtful question about engaging culture and faith and, whatever, crickets, maybe one reply. Mm-hmm. We ask about food you don't like. Mm-hmm. Hundreds of replies. Anyway, so you guys are very opinionated about food, and that's coming up later as well.
I feel like this is time to address this. I know we got a lot to get to today. What's up with Bagel Bite coming at us like this on Twitter? I wasn't even aware of this situation.
Why they come at us?
They didn't come at us in a negative way. They took Jesse's idea. Jesse advocated on the podcast last week that Bagel Bites should be added as a staple for a Thanksgiving dinner. Like, why do we have weird stuff like cranberries? And why not have stuff we all like Bagel Bites? Bagel Bites tweeted that.
I'd like to read what Bagel Bites tweeted a mere 20 hours ago from this recording.
Oh, yeah.
If cranberry sauce is a Thanksgiving staple, why can't Bagel Bites be too? Probably already got them in your freezer anyway. Yeah, dude, I just said that, Bagel Bites, like a week ago on this show. So You could give some credit where credit is due, because I'm the one encouraging America to bring pizza bagels to your Thanksgiving. No, no tag,
they
nothing.
Didn't tag you in it. They didn't put like the dash and then your name.
Nope.
Nothing.
See, they hating. Man, hey, look, I got the beat, bro. If you trying to go at Bagel Bites, bro, like, look,
I am.
We'll go call Wendy's up too. Wendy's be dropping mixtapes left and right. So it's like, look, we could drop one. It's nothing, bro. I'm with all the smoke.
Derek, let's do this. Let's hit up Frozen Taquito. See if they want to come in on this and drop a bar for us.
We got to hit the legendary Steakums.
Yep. Steakum, Taquito. We'll get Eggo Waffle. We'll get Eggo Waffle in this joint. We'll see who's laughing out, Bagel Bites.
This American cuisine is just
this about
amazing.
To be the new East Coast versus West Coast beef. That's what we're doing. It's a problem.
Okay, well, before I move the show along, I want to tell you the big news the last week or so is that we have our print annual edition, our all new magazine experience. Print annual edition is available for sale now at relevantstore.com. You can save 20% right now because we're pre-ordering it. It's going to ship next month. Go do that. Save some money. It is 224 pages, premium paper. It is thick and big and beautiful. Gorgeous design, and it's perfect for your coffee table. It's all the best long form content from Relevant throughout the year. All of our A-list celebrities and think pieces and stuff. You don't want to miss it. The Relevant annual print edition is available for sale now at relevantstore.com. Also, it's Black Friday, so guess what? We are having a sale as well. You can save 25% on all the statement apparel and podcast fan stuff and all that by going over to relevantstore.com. Check it out. It's all new, full of amazing new stuff. I think you'll like it a lot. Go check it out. Use a promo code holiday25. Get 25% off at relevantstore.com. Okay? All right, well, stay tuned. Up next, Tyler joins us for Relevant News.
You gave me three-dimensional feelings. Thought that I was just dreaming. Can't keep up with them all. I see three-dimensional feelings bouncing off of the ceiling, coming off of the wall.
You're listening to Alfie Templeman. The song is 3D Feelings. Well, today's show is brought to you by BetterHelp. It's 2021, which means it's okay to talk about our mental health and happiness. Humans aren't meant to keep everything inside. It makes us sick. And that's why therapy helps. Well, what is therapy exactly? It's whatever you need it to be. Maybe you're not feeling motivated right now and would like some tools to help, or you're feeling insecure in relationships or at work or stressful holiday things. Whatever you need, don't be ashamed of normal human struggles because you deserve to be happy. And now you don't have to worry about finding an in-person therapist near you to help. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Join the millions of people who are seeing what therapy is really about. And right now, Relevant Podcast listeners can get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/relevant. That's betterhelp.com/relevant. Save 10% off your first month. Okay, it's time for
Relevant News.
Please welcome to the show, Relevant Senior Editor Tyler Huckabee, telling us what's happening at the intersection of faith and culture this week. Hey, Tyler.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to my haunted, the room of a 9-year-old who was taken by cholera during the 1800s.
Where are you?
I'm at my in-laws' house in Cincinnati, Ohio today. And I found a quiet recording place, which I know this is kind of a visual slice, but it looks like the place where in a horror movie, when you walk into, they're like, don't go in there. What are you out of your mind?
And then the doll's eyes follow you.
Yeah. You can't listen. And there's a couple things going on. It's a bright light to the right of you. I don't know if it's a window or a door into hell. And then, portal. You know what I'm saying? Your camera is a little wobbly, bro. I ain't gonna even lie. So it's like kind of slightly going, phasing in and out. So
And the
it's
frame in the background just is like rotating slowly.
Yeah.
I don't know
I don't know what's going on.
The cat illustration just turned. Yeah.
And I promise the bed looked like it's rising a little bit.
Tyler, do you know why it's called Black Friday without looking?
Oh, man. No, I just know what I'd always assumed, but I don't know the actual. I do not. I assume it's because it's a day that's very difficult for like people who work in the retail industry. Like it's very stressful. There's a lot going on. People are lines out the door all day long, so they're mad about it. So it's
no, Tyler, that is absolutely incorrect. It is because the police in Philadelphia don't like traffic. That's why. In the early 1960s.
Police in Philly?
Yep, look it up. The police in Philly.
Okay.
West Philadelphia.
That's news to me. I had no idea.
What's going on in the Relevant Beat this week?
Well, it is Black Friday. And so I wanted to get into something that we don't talk about a lot on this podcast for obvious reasons, because it's usually very boring. But there is a lot going on right now in the economy. If you've turned on the news and you've had on the background, you've probably seen a lot of like lower third chyrons about the inflation and that supply chain that's going on. And I feel like there's a lot of heat and maybe not a lot of light in this conversation. So I wanted to bring just a little bit of clarity to what we can actually expect over the next few weeks here when it comes to planning your holiday season and what rising inflation rates and the supply chain is going to do for you. If I say this, you guys know that this is a conversation, right?
For sure.
This is like on the news panels.
I mean,
all the people have to have
gas
a take
is
on this.
double what it was a year ago.
Right.
Yeah, everybody's aware of inflation right now in supply chain.
I'm spending nothing but crypto coin right now. I'm in my own playground, guys. So none of this is affecting me at all. But continue.
This is a finance episode. Lecrae's coming on later to talk about his financial series, and now we got economic news for Relevant News. We were just talking about Black Friday deals, man.
Tyler, I'll let you continue, but I'm just saying I'm not too worried about any of this news. I've doubled down and bought several NFTs of monkeys wearing elaborate streetwear, so I think my portfolio is just fine right now. But go ahead, enlighten us.
Sheesh.
So your NFTs are not affected by this. You're right, Jesse. Those are yours to keep. Nobody can take those away from you.
Smart move.
But inflation is going up. This is very real. I'm not here to say that this is like not an actual issue. Inflation is obviously on the rise. You can definitely see that if you're trying to plan your Christmas or Thanksgiving travel plans, that the gasoline's more expensive, flights are a lot more expensive.
The average Thanksgiving meal costs 14% more this year than last year.
Wow. That's exactly right, Cameron. You got it on the nose. 14% more than last year. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not telling you anything you don't. I'm not telling anybody on this podcast, financial wizards, anything they don't already know. Last year's budget is not going to work for this year's budget in the exact same way. And that's if you can even find what you're looking for, because as I'm sure you know, the supply chain, also a very real thing. Some in-demand items in different parts of the country are going to be affected by this. So the sooner you get on that Christmas shopping, the more likely it is you'll be able to find what you're looking for, because it's going to be a little tight for some things that people want. Things like apparel are going to be a little hard to come by. Obviously, tech things like new iPhones, iPads, tech stuff, that's also going to be affected by some of this. So that is a real issue, and it's still a little bit up in the air. We'll have to see kind of how this actually affects the economy writ large. The employment rate has been ticking back up pretty well recently, and given the amount of federal help, federal assistance that people have gotten over the last 2 years, people have more or less the same amount of money that they did in previous years. We're not really hurting economically, but something called the Consumer Sentiment Index is down, and this just kind of keeps track of how people feel about buying stuff right now. Like, are they in the mood to go out and spend, or are they feeling like they shouldn't spend right now? And right now, it's pretty low. People are just thinking that they're not in a great mood. They're at actually the lowest it's been in the last 10 years since 2011. People are feeling a little bit grouchy, a little bit Scroogey about spending over the holiday season. And that makes a lot of sense. There's kind of this competing desire. On the one hand, it's been kind of lean for a while now. There's a pandemic going on. People are ready to celebrate and cut loose a little bit. On the other hand, inflation is up and they don't know if the stuff they want is even going to be there. So it's a little bit confusing. We'll have to see what ends up happening. Although I kind of think, hey, it's a great year for all of us to remember what Christmas is actually about this year. If you actually can't,
you just Jesus juke the economic news.
Yeah, but thinking back, I'm not trying to Jesus juke here, but I do think it's been like almost 200 years since the Christmas Carol came out, and Ebenezer Scrooge taught us the lesson about it's not about what's in your bank account, it's about what's in your heart that really matters at the holiday season. Mm-hmm. And it's a lesson we're still kind of trying to learn in some ways. So I wouldn't let inflation.
He also taught us that it's common to be haunted by ghosts of your past, present, and future. So I don't know if we can take it all as...
That's more of a Black Friday.
That doesn't happen to
based
y'all.
on some spells that were cast in the Best Buy parking lot.
Right. Well, that's why I'm in the haunted room. I'm hoping to really live up the true spirit of Christmas by being visited by 3 ghosts. I've actually been visited by 25 so far.
The Bible calls those demons. First of all.
Well, yeah. Beggars can't be choosers when it comes to supernatural.
I think you learn the true spirit of Christmas.
It is interesting how, like, the New York Times podcast did a really good recent episode on the state of the economy. I think it aired last week. If anyone's looking for a little 20-minute, look at it. But when you look at like unemployment, I mean, there are a lot of job opportunities out there. I mean, there's actually a surplus of job opportunities versus people who are able to fill them. There are other kind of key economic indicators that show like, hey, things actually might be setting up pretty good. Like we are looking at, some inflation, but a lot of people are pretty optimistic that this is going to be temporary. They just opened up natural gas and gas reserves to drive down the global price of gas. They, are trying to work through these bottlenecks in the supply chain. And it does seem like things are trending in the right direction. But to your point, Tyler, numbers are really, only kind of tell part of the story, because if consumer confidence is low, in other words, people don't feel great about spending, right, then just the feeling, just a gut feeling can drive down the economy often more than other factors. I mean, as of when we recorded this earlier this week, the Biden administration announced that they're going to keep the same head of the Federal Reserve that was appointed under the last administration for the sake of economic stability and low interest rates. So there's a lot of stuff that's pointing in the direction of, hey, things might actually be looking up. But if people don't believe it or feel it, then it's tough to kind of get the gears turning again.
That's where it gets really surprising about like sort of the understood or implied rules of the economic system as we have it here, and how little anybody actually knows about what it's going to take to make a really robust economy or a faltering economy, or what we have more likely and more often, sort of these little ups and downs and roller coasters that can create a lot of heat for talk show panels and late night hosts and even podcasts like this one, but often don't have that many real world implications for our day-to-day lives as consumers, at least not as much as we tend to think they do based on how much attention they get in the media.
I know I've spent a lot less this year. I mean, not out of fear, but just like, you know what? Like when everything is flying along just fine and, business is normal and everything's normal, I am looser with my spending because it's like, I know there's a pipeline of revenue coming down there if we just keep on keeping on. But like, with the uncertainty, kind of, you don't know what's around the corner. And so it's like, I've been a little smarter. Again, the timeliness of this guest and this conversation is interesting because it's like, this is where I'm at too. Is like, I'm just thinking about like, well, maybe I should invest that instead of spending that. Maybe I should diversify this instead of having all my eggs in that basket. And I've been really thinking about that this year and taking steps to kind of get my financial house more in order. And again, it's not out of fear, but it's just like the wackiness of the economic system is like, maybe I need to like be wise here. So
I feel like also people's maybe like priorities in what they're buying has shifted because like you were saying before, like, you know, life's just going on. You just buy things as you want them. Well, now, like thinking about the big purchases I've made recently, all of them have to do with like trips that I'm taking because I'd rather put my money towards something that I can experience than just like a piece of clothing that I'll wear a couple times, you know? So I think like even our values have shifted because everything has changed because of the pandemic. So I think people are not spending things just for the sake of spending it, but are being intentional with like, does this actually bring me joy? Like, does this bring me something more than just an object in my house?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I saw a commercial from Expedia and they said they were like, why not go to the place instead of, you know, care about the picture on the screen? You know what I mean? So it just seems like people are traveling more in that sense. But yeah, I mean, between the supply chain stuff, I know it myself, we are still in a pandemic, you know, and there's not a lot of moving around for myself. Yo, the kids may not get 30 gifts a piece this time. They might get 10. Right. And it might just be 10 gifts that I know they're going to care about as opposed to, you know, we just flippantly just throwing money like it's popping out here, you know? So. Yeah.
And obviously a lot of people are, you know, I don't want to discount people who've really kind of struggled financially in the last couple of years, but I do think there's probably some good course correction just from a consumption standpoint. You know, we all grew up in a generation where anything you want, you can get right now. You could buy strawberries, even though in the dead of winter, even though they don't grow that time of year. You can get anything, any rare item or seasonal thing. I don't even have to wait for a streetwear drop. I can just go on StockX, and if I got the money, I can buy whatever I want, whenever I want. And you know, that's rare to our generation. You know, you go back to our parents' generation or our grandparents, there wasn't those expectations. It was, you know, life really did still maintain some sort of seasonal rhythm, even with our consumption habits, where, look, well, you bought what was available at the time. And if it wasn't available, maybe it will be later this year, because that's just how things naturally are designed. You know what I mean? But, yeah. And so like, I do think there might be just some course correction with the expectation that we can just have whatever we want, whenever we want. You know, it's not really kind of the natural way that humans are meant to consume.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, there you go. For all your financial news, follow relevantmagazine.com throughout the week. That's not true.
Maybe not all your financial. Maybe not all.
Just a little bit of it. You know what I'm saying? Not all of it. We cover a little bit, though.
It's on the beat. Yeah. Talk to Lecrae. You got Lecrae coming up here. He'll
for intriguing investment opportunities, please follow me on Twitter. I am constantly asking people for money for my latest hairbrain invention. So thank you all.
Okay, well, thanks, Tyler. Follow Relevant on all the socials. We're on Twitter and Facebook and IG, and we're publishing all day, every day. Make sure to follow along. All right, stay tuned. Up next, Lecrae joins us. You're listening to Mock Michael. The song is Nothing Fits. I think it's about my wardrobe after quarantine. Well, our guest today needs no introduction. Lecrae joins us. You know, the Christian rapper, singer, songwriter, record and film producer, actor, and entrepreneur. He joins us today to tell us about his new web series called Protect the Bag, which is all about providing helpful tips on how to be smart with your money. We spoke with him about this interesting career move and to get a couple solid financial tips. Here's our conversation with Lecrae.
So first question, I guess, is you obviously have a very established career as an artist and as a creative. How connected is this career to you? Because I feel like this would seem like a very big pivot from some of your previous work to a lot of your fans. But do you see a connection there? How connected is it?
Yeah, it feels connected. I think I have a blueprint in some ways looking at somebody like Jay-Z. For all intents and purposes, he's a communicator. And I think that's what I am as well. I'm a communicator and I'm a leader. And that's just part of leadership. You know, I lead with music and artistry. I lead with entrepreneurship. I lead with service. And so this is just me leading in service and teaching people about, you know, being good stewards of the finances that they have.
I think a lot of people tend to keep these conversations around money and faith and creativity very separate. There's not a lot of intersection between these dialogues. Do you see an intersection here maybe that we're not?
Yeah, it's funny. You know, I look at intersections a lot differently, especially like after my mental health journey, because what I realized is that these mental health professionals and these, Christian leaders or pastors or whatnot are not talking, and yet they need each other if they really want to help people. Right? It's like an orchestra that we have to be able to play together. And so that's another thing that I began to realize in my life is I had all these different players. I had this financial mentor, I had this marriage mentor, I had all these people, but they were all people who loved God and they were trying to give me biblical advice and godly advice. And so for me, it was like, man, why not just become, a portal, for a lot of people to find that intersection. Let me be the subway station where people can jump on different trains and find artistry and business and, faith, leadership. And so, I'm pointing to people who can do that. I don't have to be the source of it all, but if I can connect people to those lanes and avenues, then I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
If we can speak very, very broadly here, what do you feel like are some of the most common fundamental disconnects when it comes to the way we think about money? Where do most of us go wrong?
There's lots of different categories, obviously. I mean, you have some people who in the category where they see capital of money as consumption instead of capital. And when you think of money as consumption, you're just consuming. You're not thinking about how to use it as a tool to make more of it so you can do helpful things. And then, of course, as a believer, as a Christian, I want money to make money so that I can use that resource to do other things with it. It's kind of like you don't want to buy a cow, cut it up and eat it, and then that's it. You're thinking about, okay, how do I buy a cow, breed it, feed other people, milk it, sell the milk to help other, just a broader perspective that I think, people don't get. And so we tend to use money for more liabilities than assets. We tend to use it to get things that cost us more money instead of getting things that bring us money or help us save money. And I think that's a principle that we miss out on.
I think one thing that gives me kind of a bad taste in my mouth when I think about a lot of the Christian and financial programs out there is that they can be toxic and they can be really troubling. And sometimes they've been the source of a lot of harm in the world. How do we as Christians need to change the way that we talk about money?
Yeah. So I feel a lot like you do in that. What I've learned is that it doesn't really help to go blow the system up. I think a lot of us were like, what? This is all bad. What are we spending? I think, the church, if statistics show that the church is raking in, like $1 trillion, and 2/3 of that is used for like salaries and lights and different things along those lines and not to do the work of the kingdom. And you could tend to want to just go blow the whole thing up. But I think what's healthier or what's better is to kind of send in a gas inside the building that starts to wake people up slowly to these things, because oftentimes I think the bomb has already happened, and that's the pandemic where it's kind of like, whoa, what the heck are we doing? What's going on now? And so now it's just seeping gas in there and helping people find some rays of light and some different perspectives here and there. And hopefully, those breadcrumbs will lead them to being, more proactive and helpful with their funds instead of just kind of feeding this institution, or what we would call the evangelical industrial complex that just keeps building on top of itself instead of figuring out ways to help people thrive.
You know, a frustration you hear about a lot of these programs, about financial literacy programs, is that they take a one-size-fits-all approach to this. People have a lot of different ideas and they have a lot of different financial situations, and we all have more that we could learn about how to do this well. So how are you tailoring the work you're doing here to make this series work for everybody who's interested in learning more, no matter where they're at financially?
Yeah, I think, you know, for certain people, you know, they can't start on page 200 of this financial literacy book, right? They got to start on page 1. And that's kind of how we've positioned it, so that folks can see just some origin steps and some principles, you know, just some basic principles that if you dig deep can become bigger and wider and and more nuanced. But at least that basic principle is helpful. Just understanding the benefit of saving, understanding the benefit of, you know, we started in the first episode about the 50-30-20 rule, where 50% of your income is going toward, you know, your needs and bills and things that have to be taken care of. And then, you know, 30% is going toward, you know, some desirable things, you know, some things that are desirable, but then 20% is always savings and investing. And that's just a simple principle, whether you got $10 million or you got $10, it's a simple principle to just begin to think about, so that you can begin to be more financially healthy moving forward.
So I think a common problem that people have, certainly one that I've felt, is we want to be generous. We want to give to good causes, but a lot of times we don't really feel like we can afford it. It might not be responsible even to give money away. What do you say to a person who feels like they want to give, they're called to give, but they just don't know if they can spare money right now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, if you're not being financially responsible for your own life, then you're not putting yourself in a position to be able to give, right? You know, it just depends on what side of the spectrum you are. Obviously, you know, in ancient Jewish principles, the year of Jubilee would happen. And if you lost all your land, you would get it back after a certain amount of years. The farmers who had an excess would leave some for those who didn't. And so there's just that principle of us helping one another thrive and building into one another. And it depends on what side of the spectrum you're on. But once you find yourself on the side of a spectrum where you have some consistency, I do think it's important to make sure that you understand, where is my finances coming from? And it's like the widow, the widow's mite. You know, she didn't have a lot, but she gave what she did have. And God saw that as more than the person who gave way more than her, but gave out of like a surplus instead of giving out of a sense of faith and concern and care. So if you only have a little, give what you can. But you know, sometimes that may be, look, all I have right now is time. Give your time, volunteer, you know, until you find yourself in a position where you can do more than that.
That was Lecrae. Make sure to check out his new web series, Protect the Bag. Well worth it. Okay, stay tuned. Up next, it's your feedback.
I can't be yours forever. I can't be yours forever. I can't be yours forever. I can't be yours forever.
You're listening to Sales. The song is Can't Be Yours Forever. Sales. We need more of those. Hey, by the way, we have an opening for a sales and marketing director. Go check out relevantmediagroup.com. Okay, it is time for your feedback. Last week, we got talking about Thanksgiving meal. You know, everybody had a great day yesterday, I'm sure. At least some good food, hopefully. And we got talking about the side dishes and the weird dishes and your favorite dishes. You guys told us your favorite dishes. This week, we wanted to know, what's the one food that should never be added to a recipe? Holy cow, you guys have some opinions about that. You hit us up on Twitter at Relevant Podcast, and I guess some of you guys saw us post on Instagram and Facebook as well. Here are a few of our favorite replies.
Okay, first off, I don't even want to go through all of these, but there was a lot of hate on olives. Okay,
A lot of hate on
I would
olives.
say,
What's up
I would
with
say
the
about
olive hate?
30% of these people are dogging on olives.
Can I
I
be
don't
honest
know
with
one
you?
thing-
I use
Yeah.
olive oil all the time. I've never eaten an olive in my life.
Stop playing, bro.
I ate
Hey,
one
just-
and then I never want to eat one
Just
again.
the smell,
Olives are amazing.
I just doesn't appeal to
Look, okay, I'm going to make a quick case for olives. One, you could bring the green ones. I could eat a whole jar right now. They're delicious. They're so
me. What do they
good.
taste
I
like?
could,
Describe it.
It's
a
like
salty.
They're not
bitter.
good.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
smell
it-
like sardines.
It's like a rich, salty, kind of interesting textured little vegetable.
Sounds terrible. You're not
It's like
doing
a
a good
pickled.
job.
It's like something that's like pickled but not as sour. But here's the other thing about the black olives. There's nothing funnier than putting one on each finger and going like this: olive fingers, and then just eating one up. The olives are fun all the way around.
That's
Okay,
disgusting, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Look,
it's
bro.
hilarious.
9
and you
times
put a
out
little
of 10,
toothpick through
Jesse,
'em.
I'm gonna be on the same side as you, but this time, bro, that's just nasty.
That was too far for Derek.
Too far, bro.
Dude, you put them. You get a little toothpick and a piece of spiced meat, and you throw an olive on that toothpick. You got a whole hors d'oeuvre right there, just made from scratch. Put a pepperoni and an olive on a toothpick, and it's like, oh, someone put a lot of time prepping this party.
All right, look, somebody said pineapple, especially on pizza. And I'm here to go ahead and set the record straight. Look, George 270-71835, whatever your name is. Bro, pineapple not only belongs on pizza, it deserves to be there.
I've never
Like,
had a pineapple pizza.
Pineapple
Hawaiian
on pizza is phenomenal.
Really?
And
Emily,
I'ma
where do
need
you
y'all
stand
to
on that?
Chill out.
Absolutely not. I do like pineapple, but it
Yeah, I
should
like
not go
pineapple. I'm
anywhere
from
near my
Florida.
pizza.
Roasted pineapple on a pizza with some good veggies. You know what I'm saying? And
You sell it. Jesse did not sell me on
So
olives.
no,
You're
no,
selling me
no.
on pineapple.
Okay, hold on. Let me just say this about pineapple. It works in theory. Oh, I'll put it on a pizza. Derek, would you ever melt cheese on a pineapple? The answer should be obvious because you are one step
That is a
away
great
from that with
point.
pizza. Like if I gave you a pineapple, would you like, hey, would you want some cheddar cheese and toss it in the oven?
It's a
No one
tomato
would do
sauce.
that. No one would do that. Yeah, exactly. It's
You
because it's
don't put
horrible.
pizza on a pineapple.
You've been
well, look, so
bamboozled.
something that people love, man, people love. Now think about this. Most of our dishes that we make are crazy. A cake has milk and eggs inside of it and sugar. It doesn't make sense. Would you put sugar in an omelet? No.
Yeah,
But
you're right.
when you make it and bake it in a cake, bro, a quiche is an egg pie.
Mm-hmm.
Like that sounds horrible, but you know what? When you put it together, guess what? It's phenomenal. Yes, I am uppity and I eat quiches, so y'all can.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
Same with quiches.
I like quiche.
For me, the food for me is mushrooms. Like over the
I
years,
love
like
mushrooms.
if it grows, I used to tell people if it grows on a damp log, I don't want to eat it. And then somebody asked me, "What's a plog?" And they thought I was cussing. A damp log, not a damp log. Anyway, if it grows on that, I don't want to eat it. And two, who figured out which ones we can eat and which ones kill you? Because like trial and error.
a brave human.
Steve just died from eating that one, but this one looks delicious. I'm gonna let me give it a go. No, thank you.
One of them is dead.
One saw heaven. One's tripping. He ran up on a cliff.
That's what I'm saying. You're
figured out which ones are which.
You're disrespecting all of the people who died leading up to us being able to determine what's edible and what's not. Whenever I see some exotic food that's like, hey, there's a lot of poison versions of that. I kind of, I'm kind of like, well, I gotta try.
Going?
Yeah.
We have to honor
The
their
stakes
sacrifice.
are too high for me not, like the sacrifice was too great for me not to throw a couple portobellos in the garden salad.
You know what I'm saying?
Gary, try that one. He ran up on a hill. He's tripping his brains out. And then, well, this one's delicious. Let's put it on a pizza. I mean, come on.
Look, Gary butt naked in the middle of the street talking about he seeing Jesus. off one mushroom, bro.
And I'm out here willing to roll the dice on the end of a shish kebab with it. So too many good people died for me not to want to get experimental with a mushroom. Okay, that's the least I can do.
To honor those that have fallen.
Honor the fallen. Eat a shish kebab.
All right, so Melanie said cilantro, and I see that there's people that hate cilantro. I like cilantro. Some people say it tastes like dish soap. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, my roommate used to say that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder, that makes me think of something. I wonder, when we eat things or see things or hear things, do we experience it the same? Like when I put cilantro in my mouth, it tastes a certain way. When somebody else puts it in their mouth, the chemicals of their body may make it taste like dish soap. And I would hate it too if I had their chemical makeup. Do we taste the same? And how could we ever know?
Right.
Like,
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. Like,
I don't think we taste this. I feel like there have been studies on that because cilantro is one of those things where you either like it or you think it tastes like dish soap. And it's like, there's so many other factors that go into why your like olfactory senses are like the way that they are.
Right.
So, I don't know the science behind it, but I do know that we do experience things differently.
So I can never know how you see or experience the world. You know, like,
wow. Yeah. That's deep.
Maybe have
deep,
empathy
bro.
for people. Maybe have empathy for the others. Maybe
all this came from the cilantro.
We were just talking about cilantro.
Maybe if I experienced cilantro the way you did and I could have some, I would agree with you, but your experience is different than my experience. I can't walk in your shoes. Hey, if you hate cilantro, hate cilantro.
Hey man, let's hug one another.
That's a sermon.
More cilantro. More cilantro for me.
I don't even lie, man.
You know, Steve is tasting this mushroom and he's up on the hill having a good time of his life. And,
transformative.
Gary left. Gary died, but, he was sick anyway. Maybe
Gary died. Steve's starting a whole new religion up there. Okay. Meanwhile, I'm eating a portobello burger. I didn't even know that was a thing until recently. And wow, what a treat.
All right. Well, there's a lot more where that came from. Go check it out. Follow Relevant Podcasts on Twitter. All right. It's time for this week's
editorial question of the week. Hey.
All right. Well, this show, we've talked a lot about finances, the economy, uncertain times. Anyway, it's Black Friday. So we got thinking about consumerism. We got thinking about the holidays and buying stuff. And we want to know your biggest regret impulse purchase. Maybe it's a Black Friday thing. Maybe it was just a spur of the moment thing, but you went all in, you got the thing, and now you're wondering what in the world was I thinking? That's what we want to know. Hit us up on Twitter at Relevant Podcast or wherever you see us post the question, and we'll read your favorites on next week's show. Or our favorite.
Can I give a quick example?
Please.
My answer is several of those little helicopters you could buy from my mall kiosk from a while ago. Every time I get suckered, they make it it's so easy zipping around the food court. Okay,
the helicopter
it looks so easy. Yeah, and you're like, all right, I'm going to buy one. They look too cool.
Do you see those boomerang ones? The boomerang things that they would do in the malls.
The amount of time it takes from you opening the box to that thing stuck in a tree or broken a ceiling fan, the over-under is 7 minutes. That anyone's actually owned a functioning helicopter from a mall kiosk. I've been suckered in multiple times on those bad boys.
That's true.
You said 7 minutes, it's in a tree?
Mm-hmm.
7 minutes.
Oh, easily. One gust of wind, it's gone forever. Just flew over a neighbor's house. And you're like, I've never seen that again.
How many do you think you've purchased in your lifetime?
For myself and for White Elephant gifts, 7, 8.
7, 8. Yeah.
I was at a White Elephant gift party where I gave it and the person opened it and immediately put the batteries and was like, dude, I can't wait to try it. Zzz, and it immediately flew right into the ceiling fan and shattered all over the Christmas party.
Is that user error though? Or is that machine error?
Unless you work at a mall food court and it's literally your job to get good at them, then they're going to break right away. That's how I see it.
All right. Well, hit us up on Twitter at Relevant Podcast and let us know your biggest regrettable purchase. There you go. Well, before we wrap up, I want to thank Lecrae for joining us today. Don't miss his new web series, Protect the Bag. It's on YouTube. Well worth it. Go check it out. Also, remember, head over to relevantstore.com to check out our latest merch, our annual print edition. We got podcast gear, sweatshirts, all the stuff. And right now, this weekend only, everything's 25% off. Just use promo code HOLIDAY25. Also, while you're online, go over to relevantmagazine.com. Check out our fall digital issue featuring Hillsong Young and Free, a stirring conversation with Philip Yancey, Jessica Chastain, so much more. The issue is available for free and ad-free, thanks to our friends at UHSM. Also, while you're at the site, make sure to check out our daily devotional series, Deeper Walk. It's presented by Lumo. There's a morning devotional email you can sign up for, or you can check out every weekday the devotional there in the faith section at our website. It is a great way to start your day. Also, remember to follow Relevant on all the socials to keep up on all the latest stuff we're putting out every day. All right, on that note, we'll wrap it up. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Emily Brown.
I'm Derek Miner.
Have a good and safe commercial weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. Check out our features, interviews, and news updates every day at relevantmagazine.com. And make sure to follow Relevant on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest. For more great podcasts, browse the shows on the Relevant Podcast Network, which you can find at our site. And while you're there, don't miss the all-new era of Relevant Magazine. A new issue releases every other month at relevantmagazine.com.
Further south you go, the more Mad Max it gets.
Relevant Podcast Network.